Good morning students, welcome to our class. Today we are going to start the unit 5. The theme of this unit is biodiversity. We will cover 3 readings: environment, or will the dreamer wake, a tale of 3 villages. Today we will complete the environment lesson reading A. Before going to the environment, look at the face sheet. See, 2 pictures are mentioned here. First picture, it is dumped. The garbage dumped on the banks of the stream. Whereas second picture, very beautiful to look at. Isn't it? Now here are the questions. What do you see in the first picture? Do you like it? If not, why? So what did we observe in the first picture? I find garbage dumped on the banks of the stream. I don't like it. Why? Because it is unclean, ugly to look at. Now second question, how is the second picture different from the first? Do you feel good about it? Give reasons for your view. Now the second picture is beautiful to look at. The houses are well designed. They are made of eco-friendly indigenous material. The surroundings are clean. The soil is fertile. It is completely different from the first picture. Isn't it? Now this is our face sheet. Now we will go to our environment lesson. See, in this environment, you look at this picture. Who is this lady? See, look at this picture. Yes, she is our environmental activist and Nobel Prize winner. So she is called Wangari Maathai. Here is a lesson. It is an interview conducted by NHK Radio from Japan. What is the full abbreviation of NHK? Nippon Hoso Kyokai. On 19 December 2004, the interview was conducted. Now look, interview with Wangari Maathai, environmental activist and Nobel Prize winner. Wangari Maathai started the Green Belt movement and also fought for equal rights for women in Africa. She is the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Read the excerpt from her interview with Nippon Hoso Kyokai, NHK Radio Japan 2004, December 19. What is called Green Belt movement? It is a movement to protect environment. She is the first lady who started this movement and fought for the equal rights for women. In which place? In Africa. So she is called the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Now accept a short piece of writing taken from a larger whole. So come on, let's go into the interview. So interview between NHK Radio and Wangari Maathai. First question, how did you become aware of the environment? Now what did she answer when they asked this question? From the time we started, we were trying to respond to the basic needs of the people. In which area? In the rural areas. And people were asking for clean drinking water, for food, for energy, which is mostly firewood, for building material, for fodder for the animals, and all these come from the land. So we knew that what the people in the rural areas were asking for had to do with the environment. They did not have those things because the environment was degraded. So from the very beginning, we understood that we have to rehabilitate the environment. Now, the time we started, all the women were responding to basic needs. What are called basic needs? Daily what things were required in our area. Daily life, what things are required for us? we require food, we require drinking water, we require to prepare the food energy, which is called firewood. To live, we need a house. So, for house, what do we require? Building material. And finally, for animals, the food we call fodder. So, all these were required, and we know all these come from the land. So, what the people in the rural areas were asking for had to do with the environment. So, they did not want those because the environment was degraded. So, from the very beginning, we understood that we have to rehabilitate the environment. What do you mean by rehabilitate? The environment which we have damaged coming to the normal position again. So, help something to become normal is called rehabilitate. The forested mountains were the source of water and the source of rain. So when you deforest, you cause a shortage of water and change of rainfall pattern, and therefore people are not able to get food and water. Now the forested mountains were the source of water and source of rain. So where do we get this water and rain? From the forested mountains. If you deforest, automatically we get a shortage of water and change of rainfall pattern. So today why people are unable to get food? Because they have a shortage of water and change of rainfall pattern. So in order to have a good environment that can sustain their livelihood, sustain meaning provide something in enough quantity to continue for long, is called as sustain. Livelihood means ways of earning money in order to live. That is called as sustain. It is important to have a government that accounts to them, that protects them, that protects their interests, that is concerned about their life. So we should get a support from the higher authorities, means government. If the government support, automatically we will have a good life. That is about the how did you become aware of the environment. So in this they are asking about the basic needs of the people, and the main source of water and the source of rain is forested mountains. Now next question, how is peace connected to a good environment? How is peace connected? Many wars that are fought in the world are fought over natural resources. So there are many wars which they fought. Mostly many wars are fought over natural resources. From nature, what do we get? The resources which we get from nature. Some wars are fought because the environment is so degraded that it is not able to support communities, and so they fight over the little that is left. When the environment is degraded, even people started fighting. What is the reason? The little resources which are left, they want those resources. Others are fought because some people want to take a lot of resources to control them and to keep many other people out. So, in this manner, the people are fighting, one to get the leftover resources, other to keep people out, not to give them any resources. This is what the people were fighting. Now, how is peace connected for this? Now, whether this happens at the national level or at the regional level, means about the region or else in the nation, or even at the global level, what we should do, sooner or later there is a discontent, means a feeling of dissatisfaction, either in the national, regional or global. Sooner or else it takes time, but finally we are going to have dissatisfaction. And when the discontent is strong enough, there is a conflict, a clashes between the people, fight between the people. So it's come under conflict. Now what required? Good management of natural resources, equitable distribution of these resources is important for peace. Now, how is peace connected? good management of natural resources and equitable distribution of these resources. These two are main important for peace. At the same time, good management of natural resources is not possible if you do not have democratic space, respect for human being, respect for the human rights, giving other people dignity. So at the same time, what we should have? It is not possible. What is not possible? Good management of natural resources is not possible. When? If you do not have democratic space, respect for human beings, third, respect for human rights. These three, and finally, giving other people respect. Dignity come under respect. Equitable, treating everyone in an equal way. That is why the three themes are related, like the African stool with three legs and the basin on which you sit. Now they are comparing with the three themes. What are the three themes related? They compare like the African stool, where the African stool had three legs, and on the top the basin which we are going to sit. The three legs, what are the three legs? One leg is peace, other leg is good governance, third leg is sustainable management of resources. Now they are comparing with the legs of the stool. First leg is a peace, other is a good governance, third is a sustainable. Governance means controlling or governing an organization, whereas sustainable, that can continue or be continued for a long time. If you continue for longer time, it comes under sustainable. What to be sustainable? Management of resources. When you have those three legs, now you can put the basin, which is development. Basin come under as development. And if you try to balance that stool without those three, it won't happen. So all the three should be in a proper state. If one leg is not working, what happens? The stool cannot give us support, we cannot sit. Finally, it won't happen. We have not shared our resources equitably. We have allowed some people, especially those in power, to acquire a lot at the expense of the majority, and we have also engaged in conflict. So what happened here is, when people are not sharing the resources and allowing some people who are especially in power, the leaders, to acquire a lot at the expense of majority, and we are going to face the problem. Already we see conflict, a clash, fight among us. So NHK Radio, next question. What was the environment like when you were young, and how did you go about saving it? She is explaining how is the environment in the previous. When I was a child, which is almost more than 50 years ago, the environment was very pristine, very beautiful and very green. We were a British colony, and the British government at that time started to clear cut the indigenous forest in our forested mountains, because they wanted to establish commercial plantations of exotic species of trees such as the pines from the northern hemisphere and the eucalyptus from Australia. These trees are very nice, they grow tall and they grow very fast, but as they grow, they destroy all the local biological diversity. Now when she was a child, it is almost more than 50 years. So now she is looking like a middle-aged lady. So almost 50 years ago, how is the environment? She is describing fresh or clean, means very pristine. Pristine meaning very fresh, very clean, looks very beautiful, and it's full of greenery. So it's called very green. And we used to live in a British colony, and the British government, they started to clear cut the indigenous, means the native plants. Indigenous, we call it as native or domestic forest in our forested mountains. Why they want to cut all the native? Because they wanted to establish commercial plantation. which is going to give a lot of money. Plantation crops such as coffee, banana, etc. They comes under the plantations. And commercial plantations of exotic species, unusual and exciting, or bringing from foreign areas species, similar group of plants for the purpose of reproduction. So they want to bring those species such as pine from northern hemisphere one half of the earth. Pines they are going to bring from northern, and eucalyptus from Australia. These two are the commercial plants which they are going to bring. These trees are very nice. They grow tall and they grow very fast. But when they are growing, we feel very happy. But the result, as they grow, they destroy all the local biological diversity. So diversity, range of person or things that are very different. Now it is going to damage the environment, degrade the environment. Today they grow very fast, very tall, but later the people will suffer because they don't have strength in the soil. It becomes very weak as they grow much faster. The soil, what happens is, gradually it reduces the strength. All the flora and fauna disappeared. At last, the flora, fauna disappeared. Flora means plants, fauna, animals. We cannot find plants and animals in that place. So, although we were getting commercial timber for the growing timber industry, we also destroyed our local flora and fauna. The most beautiful things in the nature, plants, animals, birds, along with human beings if they were, so we feel very lovely. But today we are developing the timber industry, simultaneously we are destroying the local flora and fauna. As a result, these forests, which were the water towers, were no longer able to contain water. Now, the result of these two exotic species, the forests which were called as water towers, they are no longer able to contain water. Even when the rain fell, the water ran downstream and ended up in the lakes and ocean instead of going down into the underground reservoir so that it could come back to us in the form of rivers. One thing we noted is that not only did the rain pattern change, became less, but also the rivers started drying up. We lost our local biological diversity, so that's a lot of damage to our environment. See, when the people started cutting the indigenous forests and planting the new commercial, the result, we are losing many of the things. Even the rains, when they fell, the water ran downstream. They ended up in lakes and oceans. Actually, they should go into the underground reservoir. But now, it could come back to us in the form of rivers. Final result is, rain pattern changed. They became less. No rains properly. Rivers started drying. We have lost all the biological diversity. And it is a lot of damage to our environment. That is why in 1975, at the very first United Nations Conference for Women in Mexico, many of the women were saying, we need food, we need water, we need clean drinking water, we need fodder for animals. And I was wondering what has happened. These are the things that were there 20 years ago when I was a child. The environment had changed, and that is when I started this campaign to restore the vegetation and to restore the land and to rehabilitate the forest. And in 1975, at the very first United Nations Conference for Women, the first United Nations Conference for Women is held in Mexico in the year 1975. All the women are saying, many of the women saying, basic needs were required. At the beginning we have seen the same they are all asking. And our Wangari Mata wondered what happened, why people are asking the basic needs. And these are the things that were 20 years ago when I was a child. Now the environment totally changed. She came to understand that it's totally changed. So they want to start the campaign. Why they want to start the campaign? A series of action instead intended to achieve particular result relating to politics or business or social improvement. Okay, so that campaign they want to start. What for? To restore, bring back. Restore meaning is to bring back into the normal. So to restore the vegetation, greenery. Vegetation is nothing but greenery, and to restore our land, so which was totally damaged, and to rehabilitate the forest, bring back to the normal state the forest. So these are all they want to do. What happened when you started working with the women? Finally, they started their campaign, and all the women also ready because they need the basic needs. Well, the first time when I told them, let us plant trees, the women said they did not know how to plant trees. So I asked the foresters to come and teach them, but they were very complicated. They are professionals. It became very complicated for ordinary illiterate women. So I told the women, we shall use our common sense and just do when we do with our seeds what we do with other seeds. Women work on the farms. They are the ones who plant, they are the ones who cultivate, they are the ones who produce food. So I told them that seeds of trees are like any other seeds. So if they were to treat these tree seeds the same way they treat other seeds of food crops, there is no difference. I told them to look for old broken pots even and pour seeds there. They will germinate and they will know these are the seedlings from the seeds they planted, and we gave them plastic bags to be able to put those seedlings and to nurture them. When they were about half a meter long, then they could go and transplant them on their farms. So well, first time when they started, Wangari Maathai told all the African women, let us plant trees. Now they suggested, because both are working there, Wangari Maathai is also working with the women. The women said they did not know how to plant trees. We don't know how to plant a tree. Then she asked the foresters, the forest department people to come and explain, means to teach them, but they are very complicated. How are the people? They became very complicated. They are professionals. Even they thought, as they have well experience, we are all professionals, we cannot come and explain to the people. They directly did not say that. They are just postponing the days. Finally, Wangari Maathai come to understand that they are not going to come and help us in explaining how to plant. So it became very complicated. For whom? For an ordinary woman. It became very tough. They themselves want to learn how to plant. So I told the women, we shall use our common sense. Let us use our mind how to do the work. When nobody is coming forward to help, let's use our common sense. What do we generally do with other seeds? How do you plant the other seeds? In the same manner. So as the women, you are working on the farms, you are planting the trees, you are cultivating, and you are the one who are producing food. So let us try how to do. So treat the tree seeds the same way like other seeds of food crops. There will not be any difference. Now take the old broken pot, put seeds there. The pot should be broken. They will germinate because we'll get air inside when you pour the seeds inside. After a few days, they will germinate. Those germinating seeds are called as seedlings from the seeds. Plant them. They also gave plastic bag to put those seedlings and to nurture them. Nurture meaning care for, protect when growing. That is the main position for a seed to grow properly. Like a child, when the mother gives birth to the child, how they are going to take care. In the same manner, seeds also should be taken care. And put them in a plastic bag to nurture them. When they grow half a meter long, then you take them, transplant them on their farms. This is how we will do. In the beginning it was difficult, but they soon gained confidence and they became very competent foresters. So I call them foresters without diplomas. So beginning everyone feels difficult to do the work. After some time means the days starts going on and we do a lot of practice, finally we'll get it. They soon gain confidence. Yes, we can also plant. We can plant many of the trees with this example. And they became competent foresters, competent, capable, skillful, efficient. So we call them competent foresters. So she called, Vangari Mata called them, you are called foresters without diploma. Means without education, you have well trained how to plant the seeds. So she called them the foresters without diplomas. Now NHK radio, why do you think they responded so well to your message? So why all the African women had responded to your message? Because Vangari Mata explained it was a need. When the women said they needed firewood and building materials, we responded to that need. Plant trees, then you will have trees for firewood. In the tropics, trees grows very fast. In 5 to 10 years, these trees serve as firewood, as building material. So tropical countries means it's warm places. They are all warmer places. In those places, the trees grows very fast. So as they were in need, they want the basic needs. So immediately they responded. Usually when we are in need, immediately we respond to others who gives us any suggestions. In the same manner, they are in need of the firewood building material, so they responded. They started planting. When they plant, they have more trees for firewood. As it is a tropical area, the trees grows very fast. How many years it takes? 5 to 10 years. They serve as a firewood and building material for them. Once we had planted those trees, we saw the need for them to understand why we have to have good governance. So it became important to give them civic education so that they could understand how we govern ourselves, why we govern ourselves, the way we govern ourselves, why we are managing our environment, the way we are managing it. Because we were dealing with the environment, we gave them education both in civics and also in the environment. That made them understand clearly why they should take up the responsibility of protecting their environment, that it was not the responsibility of the government or the responsibility of somebody else to come and rehabilitate the environment on their own land. It's them, it's their responsibility. See, once you started planting those trees, you need to understand why we have to have good governance, because it's important to give them such a civic education. Public education is called civic. They do not know. Whatever we say, they can understand. They themselves cannot do. So they should have a public education so that they can understand how to protect themselves. How to protect themselves, the way we govern ourselves, the environment that we are managing. So as they were dealing with the environment, that education both in civics and also in the way they understand clearly, they should take the responsibility. What responsibility? Protecting their own nature, their own place, which we call environment. It is not the responsibility of the government or somebody comes and help us to rehabilitate the environment on their own land. As they were living, they are planting. So it is their land to protect themselves. Now what transformations did you see? Transformation means complete changes. After you have given them public education, what are the changes you have seen? One of the bigger transformation that I saw was that ability of an ordinary illiterate woman to get to understand and to able to plant trees that in 5 or 10 years became big trees, and she was able to cut them, able to give herself energy, able to sell those trees and give herself an income, to be able to feel confident that she had done something for herself, that sense of pride, sense of dignity, that they are not begging, that they are doing things for themselves was very empowering. That transformation was very powerful. Now first transformation, it is also called as bigger transformation. What is called bigger transformation here? Ability, the able nature of an ordinary illiterate. They are not educated, they are ordinary people and they are illiterate. How they understood how to plant a tree, and after 5 to 10 years how they become big trees, able to cut them, able to give herself energy, and they are the one who sell those trees, they are getting income. They feel very confident that they had done something for themselves. So what are the three they have? The sense of pride, sense of dignity, that they are doing things for themselves. These three, they are not begging anyone. These three made them very empowering, means authority. It had given them authority or power. Thus, next transformation of the landscape. In this landscape, places where there was dust, there are no more dust. So, place where it is so dusty. Today, there is no dust. There are trees, even birds and rabbits. They come back and they make the environment very beautiful. There is a shade and sometimes even dry springs come back because the water is not running. The water is going into the ground. Very profound transformation. So here what happened? In the landscape there is no dust today. All the trees are growing. Birds, rabbits, they come back. They are making the environment look very beautiful. There is a shade. Even dry springs come back because today water is not running down the streams. It is going into the ground. This comes under as a profound transformation. It is a great transformation we can observe here. And last transformation, willingness of the people to fight for their rights, to decide that they have a right to a good clean environment, to decide that they will fight for their forests, protect their forests, and they will not allow corrupt leaders to take their public land. Finally, as they come to know that we are the owners of this land because we are doing all these things, so they don't want to allow any person to come inside. Who are they? The willingness of the people to fight for their rights is decide they have a right to a good clean environment. They will fight for their forests. They will protect their forest, and they don't allow any corrupt who are going to spoil, who work dishonest. They don't want to allow them to take their public land. So in these three changes we have observed in the people. Very important, sir. First, bigger transformation, ability of an ordinary illiterate woman to get to understand. Second, landscape. And third, willingness of the people to fight for their rights. How do you think you can influence the rest of the Africa? Okay, one part of the Africa, they have totally changed. Now they have all the basic needs. Now what about the rest of the Africa? Our efforts will inspire other people to stop wasting their resources and their youth in wars and instead engage in creating peaceful environment, more peaceful states. Now, we are going to inspire other people. How? To stop wasting their resources. The youth in wars, they are also engaged, means involved in the work. They are creating peaceful state, peaceful environment. I am very happy about the fact that now in Africa, you see new efforts of ensuring that Africans engage in dialogue, that they invest in peaceful negotiation for conflict, that we manage our environment. We must restore our environment and try to ensure that we do not fight because we are allowing the environment, especially the land, to be degraded, and then we fight over agricultural land and grazing land. I see a lot of hope in what is happening in Somalia, what is happening in the Sudan, what is happening in West Africa. I see a lot of African leaders encouraging each other to engage in dialogue. Now today I am very happy about the fact all the Africans are trying new efforts to ensure, to start something new, about engage, involved in a dialogue, conversation, means how to do the things, how to implement the things. And they are investing peaceful negotiation, means formal discussion, consulting others who are well experienced, especially about not to get any conflict between them, and they are managing their environment, ensure that we do not fight, never fight. They argue, even not to argue, because allowing the environment, the land not to be degraded, fight over agricultural land and grazing land. Land meant for cattle to graze is called grazing land. A lot of hope in the people in Somalia, Sudan, West Africa. African leaders are encouraging each other to engage, to involve in conversation, which is called dialogue. What is one thing we can do? For me, my greatest activity is to plant a tree. I think that a tree is a wonderful symbol for the environment, and when we plant a tree, we plant hope, we plant the future for ourselves, for our children, for the birds. We plant something that will last long after we are gone. Now for me, my greatest activity is to plant a tree. Why? I think, Wangari Mata, I think tree is a wonderful symbol for the environment. And when we plant a tree, we plant hope. So this is very important, sir. What is the greatest activity? You should write is to plant a tree. The message given by Wangari Maatai. What is that message? Tree is a wonderful symbol for the environment. When we plant a tree, we plant hope. We plant the future for ourselves, for our children, for the birds. We plant something that will last long after we are gone. So these are all we are doing for the future. Today we will enjoy, next our children are enjoying, birds will be enjoying, and that something we plant will last long after, though we are gone. We are not there on the earth, even though others are going to enjoy. So this is about our environment lesson. So Wangari Maatai, she is the first lady who started the Green Belt movement, and she had awarded the Nobel Prize. Here's a glossary. Read the glossary. Thank you. Have a nice day.